Hello, everyone. It's Miss B, that's me, and today we're discussing Ace Metaphor, also known as Mojo Jojo. And during this live, he didn't have a lot to say. However, I want everyone to please go look at the comments. They are eating him up. They got their foot on his neck.
And one of the things that I've been really thinking about is how you can't run away from your past. You can't, no matter how much you try, you can't. But I wanted to remind everybody that even though you can't run away from your past, you are not defined by it. I always look at what makes someone able to teach, to reach individuals, and oftentimes it's because that person has been exactly where that other person is. That person either experienced it, went through it, got on the other side of it, learned from it, and came up on the other side of it even better. And I say to myself, man, I've been on this earth 35 years. 35 years. In my bio, I've always talked about how I was a bad guy turned good. And I think about some of the mistakes that I made in my life and the opportunity for growth. And I think about how there are people that don't realize that the person you are now is a summation of the mistakes and the growing pains that you made before. That the person they see in front of them that's able to be confident, assured, beautiful, that's able to reach and teach, that's able to guide, to parent, to be a great wife or husband, that there was a summation of good things and bad things that made you you. And so one of the things that this week that I've been thinking about in my head a lot is, what if your worst day was your best day? Like, what if your worst day was your best day? You know what I mean? Like, the worst day in your life was also the best day of your life. And oftentimes when you're in a mousetrap of life, you don't even understand that. You're going through the rigmarole and you hitting the wall over and over again, and you like, why is this happening to me? Or why did I do that? And you feel with regret, but like, what if the worst day in your life was your best day? What if you didn't make that choice that led to you changing your life around? What if the person you become would have never happened had you had not made that thing you keep beating yourself up about? That mistake, that poor choice. I guess what I'm saying, that everybody that's watching is like, right now, I am not the same person I used to be. I am not 20 or 21 years old no more. I'm a 35-year-old man that, had I not experienced the things I went through when I was 20 and 21, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even be here. Like, growing up, I was that kid. Like, you gonna grow up dead or in jail. I was that kid. You're gonna end up like your daddy. And I look at myself now and I say, man, what if my worst day never happened? What if I never got a chance to learn that lesson? The last 10 days have been a firestorm for me. It's been difficult. Even when I try to do what's best or what's right, it just makes things worse. And I'm sitting here just like, the only comfortable place I have right now is speaking to you all, vibing and connecting with y'all. And I want to spend more time here. And I want to talk about my feelings here. And I want y'all to know, nigga ain't about to be messy. Nigga ain't about to be messy. But I want to remind you of something. You are not defined by your worst day. Imagine if everybody in this world, imagine if everybody in this world had their worst day tattooed on their forehead. Imagine, it's everywhere you went, people only seen the worst thing about you. That's not life. You are defined not by how you fall, but how you get up, how you stand tall, how you keep your chin up, how even in the face of adversity, your character shine through. Like I wish I wish you could know how God see you for real. Like imagine if we woke up every day and we felt for us the way God feels for us. Like that thing that you worried about, that little part of your past that you think people gonna judge you about. God said, I seen it already. I love you still. I know the numbers of hairs in your head. I know the inclination of your heart. That little thing you beating yourself up about, that little problem you got, I already seen you. You are my child. And I guess what I'm saying is, there's so much beauty inside of you. There's so much beauty. There is so much light. There is so much love. So much beauty, so much light, so much love. Inside of you. There is. So I wanted to start that message off before I get into y'all messages. So let's get to it. All right. Let's see. All right, how do you feel about the future? All right, first question is, if you're sexually attracted to your man, does that mean you are no longer, if you are not sexually attracted to your man, does that mean you no longer want to be with him? Let me say this to y'all real quick. Let me tell y'all this real quick. I be liking fucking just as much as everybody, right? But one of the things that I'm growing older, like 35 now, and freshly trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with a relationship going forward. One of the things that's most important to me is not necessarily if our bodies match, but if our souls do. Like there's times when I've had a super sexual chemistry with somebody, but it didn't last. You know why it didn't last? It's because our souls wouldn't combine. You know what I'm saying? Like our souls didn't combine. And I just want to really question and tell everybody that, like, at this point in your life, what I want you to do is be more concerned about whether or not you met that person's soul yet. Because it's like when your souls touch, when you fuck, it's a different type of thing. That flame is a little bit brighter. You feel me? It's a little bit brighter. And I guess what I'm saying is, I think that sexual attraction is important in relationships. But I feel like it wanes because our mental attraction started to not be there. All right? So I guess the advice I would give to you is get to the root of what is causing the disconnect. Because oftentimes it's not in the bedroom. Oftentimes it's the way you handle each other. Oftentimes it's if you emotionally connected. Oftentimes it's the foreplay outside of it. The foreplay all day. So I want y'all to understand that, yeah, sex is important, but sex ain't where it starts. How many times you thinking that just because you know what I'm saying, got your man physically ready and shit, that he physically ready and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, oftentimes it's, does his mind and his heart cares to satisfy you, not just him? And vice versa, ladies. How many times have you got your little engine going, but mentally you're not really stimulated? Emotionally, you're not in tune. You don't feel seen and affirmed during that action. So I guess what I'm saying is, the sexual attraction doesn't start with how good somebody look, how much their body is bodying. It's how they souls are sewing. You get what I'm saying? Cool. Let's see. Alright, is it true that men fall in love during space? Uh-oh. What? I think you set boundaries with somebody. Okay. Alright. Somebody said, do I take mushrooms? Hell nah. You know, I've always thought about doing that shit. I just ain't got it in me to do it. You feel me? I've always thought about doing it. Just ain't got it in my soul to do it. Alright. Here we go. How do you set boundaries with someone you've been dealing with for some time? Is it possible? Is it possible to set boundaries with somebody you've been dealing with for a minute? I think so. I think so. But you got to be prepared what come with that. Buddy, you got to be prepared what come with that. You got to understand that person that you've been able to, that has been able to operate in your life without boundaries. They've been able to take and not give. That person did not have to watch after your well-being. That person did not have to reciprocate. That person was allowed to come in your life for convenience. That's the reason they like you. That's the reason they like you. Oftentimes we think people are in our lives because they value us as people, but oftentimes it's because they value the fact that we don't have restraint. We don't know how to say no. We don't know how to stand up for ourselves. We don't know how to be assertive about what we need. So what happens is, when you finally set boundaries to respect your self-love and your mental health, guess what happens? You changed on me. You changed on me. You changed on me. Right? You changed. You different. Like, this is not the person I used to, you know what I'm saying? You different now. You feel me? And it's like, no, I like the person you used to be when you let me run over you. What do you mean you got a backbone now? Fuck that. Fuck that shit. You got a backbone now? Hell nah. Fuck that. And I guess what I'm saying is, anytime you start standing up for you, or standing up for you, what you gotta understand is, sometimes people gonna sit down in your life. They gonna sit out this chapter. When you start saying no, then they gonna go. So, there he is. So I want y'all to understand, like, how do you set boundaries with someone you have been dealing with for some time? Is it possible? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it's possible. But you got to be prepared for people to not accept the new you. You know what I mean? You got to be prepared for people to not accept the new you. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna touch on this one because we talked about it a little bit earlier. Somebody was like, "Is soulmates a real thing?" You know what's interesting? I talked about it the other day. You know what's interesting? People be thinking they have met their soulmates, but you yourself wouldn't be able to pick your own soul out of a lineup. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be able to pick your own soul out of a lineup. Out of a lineup. Before you can identify someone else's soul, did you find yours first? Did you find your own soul first? And I'm going to tell you, there's so many people that haven't. So you are dating without finding your true identity first. So now you're going back to love you, but you don't even know who you are. So my first suggestion would be, before you look for someone else, it's so, be sure you have first found yours. All right? I think that journey in finding your own soul it gets you closer to finding somebody else's. You know what I mean? The closer you get to finding your own soul, gets you closer to finding somebody else's. So identify that. All right? Cool. So anyway, let's see. Let's see if we got one more question. I'm going to get on out of here.